Hello and welcome back to a kind of special episode on the channel. This is going to be all about 7 demos that I played during Steam Next Fest that I really think that you guys should play too. So I'm just going to go through in the list that I played them in. I have a few notes about each game and I gave them each a little grade rating. So the first game I played is Call of Boba. Now this game has you playing as a little penguin guy named Boba, and basically you aren't doing so great in your city job. You actually get overworked and you're out kind of in the hospital and your evil boss fires you, forcing you to go back to your hometown. So luck strikes you in a very interesting way. After realizing that you can't go home to your parents in fear of not being their pride and joy anymore, you stumble into a previous classmate that you haven't seen in years who has taken over his grandfather's boba shop. Now, his grandfather has passed since then, and he's the only one running the shop. And you can't really run a shop with only one person. It's really hard. So, Bobo gets offered a job, and that is basically where the game starts. Now, you get taught some recipes from your classmate, but you can also make your own. So take some ingredients and just kind of concoct whatever you want. You'll have stuff like red tea, black tea, matcha, different types of boba toppings, and of course milk. Now I can see people get really creative with this, and the part of the game where you make the actual recipe is really fun. Now once you've made it, you can add it to your menu, and when customers come in, you get to do like the kind of simplistic stuff of making the boba. You grab the cup, you put the topping in, and then you put whatever ingredient in, your milk and whatever type of tea you want. And you get to either hand it to the customer if they're a like walk-in kind of like to-go order, or you can put it in a cart and your classmate can take it to anyone who is sat down at a table. Now this game seems to be a multitude of different things, including to get your boba toppings, you actually, whenever you go to sleep, enter this kind of like mini dungeon shooter, and you go around with a gun and a type of milk tea topping, whether that be standard boba, crystal boba, sakura petals, different things like that, lychee jelly. And you go around taking out different enemies that really resemble stuff from your past corporate life. Now these zones are where you will get a bunch of your toppings that will transfer over to your shop. Now this is really the extent that the demo allows you to see into the game, but there's so much evidence that show that this game is going to be a lot more than just a simplistic you go and make boba for people. There was different farming tools in your hotbar whenever you load into the game for the first time. So I feel like there's going to be some kind of farming aspect later on. In your journal, there seems to be very like Stardew aspects where each of the people in the town that I'm assuming you will find later have different hearts, so I think you can increase friendship with people. There's also a plethora of different shops and different zones on the map that I wasn't able to go into, or just I didn't think to. And I think that that's going to really open up some story in the future. So it's really exciting to see what this game has in store. Now I gave this a B+, but that's just for me personally. I didn't like overly love this game, but I can totally see people saying that this is like an S+ for them. So the next one is kind of like one of my 2 hidden gems that I found on here, and it is called Windblown. So Windblown is it gives me Hades vibes. It's a roguelite. You go in and you try and dash around, collect items. You have 2 different types of weapons. You defeat enemies. Whenever you come back, you can buy different things like healing potions. There are abilities that you can equip, but that's only in the full version of the game, so I couldn't really test that part out. And there also seems to be an underlying story that you will help progress with each run. So in the demo, I was able to help a robot on the like kind of base ship that you return to after each run. He was having some issues rebooting, and you go and find this robot in the roguelike section and helps you reboot the robot. Now, I did really love this game. What caught my eye was the bright pops of color and the character designs. I mean, I get to play as an axolotl, so that kind of wins my vote there. But you can play as a bunch of different animals, and you go through, and there seems to be, I'm not sure how many, but a good variety of different weapons you can choose from. And how the combat works is you can attack with either weapon, but if you attack multiple times in a row with the same weapon, there will be an icon that appears on your screen, and if you swap to using your other weapon, it does this really powerful attack that is unique to the weapon that you swapped to, and it just unleashes a bunch of damage. It's kind of like a mini ultimate. So the combat is super fun. There's a bunch of like really unique designed enemies, and each of them have their own special way of attacking and moving around the map. Now, my favorite aspect of this is definitely the movement of your character. It is incredibly snappy. There is different elevations for a bunch of these floating platforms that you're moving through, and the dashes send you right to these platforms. There was never any issue with some kind of barrier stopping me from moving. There was never any issue with it. Super snappy, super responsive. I loved this game. I couldn't find a single thing wrong with it other than me sucking and just dying a bunch. It was completely amazing. I highly recommend if you like any roguelikes, roguelites, if you liked Hades especially. I don't know why this game just super clean controls. It reminds me of Hades with its like just the feel, the aura that you get from it. Highly recommend trying out Windblown, or at least just wishlisting this. I might say this a few times throughout the video, but if any of these sound or look enticing to you during the gameplay or me talking about it, please go and wishlist these games. It really does help out these devs. These are all indie teams, so it would be very appreciated by everyone in the community if you could just do that for them. Oh, I almost left Windblown without giving it a score. I gave this an S+. Like I said, it is one of my hidden gems that I found. Now here's another one that I found just scrolling through the Next Fest charts, and that is Trash Goblin. So it's a very simple game. You take items, they are covered in blocks, and you take a little chipper and you chip away at the blocks. They do different things. Some break immediately, some you gotta hit multiple times. Some purple blocks, you have to hit a specific side to break them. It's just a very satisfying game loop. I don't know if you would consider it a puzzle game, but it has that really simple puzzle-like aspect of the repetitiveness. I loved it. That is my favorite part of the game. So you chip away and discover whatever little trinket you get, you can clean it, and then you can sell it to customers that come by your shop. And I think, of course, the demo doesn't show you everything, but I think that it can get more complex the further into the days you go, and it just seems like an incredibly fun game. I gave this an A because I just thought super simplistic, but it does its job incredibly well. And I literally wrote in my notes for Trash Goblin, I could chip away all day long because it is that addicting. It's just so fun. So another demo is one that I found through Twitter. I've been kind of like seeing the dev kind of put out little announcements, and it is Spilled. Now Spilled, you just take control of the little boat and you move around different lakes and you clean up a bunch of oil that has been spilled. Now it's super simplistic, but it's super like meaningful. You clean up oil, you rescue animals that have been trapped in the oil spills and collect waste. There's like trash bottles that you like collect with your ship and you just take back to clean up the water. So the sections of water will start out really murky and brown, and as you progress through cleaning the area, you'll slowly see the water start to turn back to its like natural blue. It's just really rewarding feeling just doing that. The dev is trying to bring awareness to water pollution. I think this is just a really simple but smart way to do that. You feel really rewarding, and I know some people will go, why don't we just do this with our water? Like our water looks this murky brown. Animals are trapped in, straws, and like the cans of soda is trapped around animals' necks and stuff. I think that this can be a really good way to have people look more at the environment while playing a fun, cute little game. It's really simplistic, but I really enjoyed it, especially like rescuing all the animals. They have cute little names. And again, just seeing the water return to its blue. I don't know, it's just like a little dopamine rush. And I did give this a B+. I thought it was really good. The boat handling is what got it deducted. It's still really good. It plays like an old school game. I'm just spoiled and really bad at moving stuff with arrow keys. So this next game is actually one that I tried out because the company that I partner with, Minimap, did a dev interview with the developer of this, and it's Card of Legend. And so it's a card game, and I really like card games. And so the thing that is supposed to make this stand out is each card can be evolved. So that is something that you don't see very often in card games. And they're supposed to be using different AI, so you can have like chatbots and stuff in the game, and really tough like virtual opponents. They say that they're using AI with this, but from what I read in the dev interview, it doesn't seem like it is generative AI used for like the art. It seems like just like the typical AI used in video games for like the enemies and stuff. I do need to do some more research into see specifically how they're using the AI, but I think it's safe. Don't quote me on that though, I still need to research it. But assuming it is, the game was actually pretty fun. So it's very similar to like 𝕬𝕠𝕣𝕖. That was the card game that it made me think about. You have cards that have characters on it with, you know, their typical mana. You have 3 mana to start with. You gain 1 more each round. You have different phases. Put down your cards during your preparation round. Enemy does the same. You attack, they attack. Very simple. And there's also, of course, cards that you can heal with this card. You can do direct damage to the enemy with this card. All of that is in there. What makes this game stand out in just its strict gameplay sense is most games like 𝕬𝕠𝕣𝕖, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, you have to basically eliminate your opponent's side of the board before you can attack their life points. Now this game, there is a set amount, I think it's like 6 cards per side. Each card can hit in a range of 3 cards. They can hit the card in front of it and 1 on each side, and that is their hit range. So the cool thing about this game is if there's no cards in your card's hit range, that card directly attacks the life points of your opponent, and also therefore the opponent can attack you directly. So it adds just another layer of strategy to the game, which I really like, because a lot of card games can just simmer down into you attack card goes away, you attack life points. So it just adds like a little more strategy to standard stuff. You still have to like deal with mana, focus on, okay, this is the health points, here's the damage of this card, where do I put it? And there's also different modes. So what's interesting about this is there's like a standard roguelike mode to where you go through a bunch of different fighting monsters. So go about, fight a bunch of decks that have like a bunch of spider cards and stuff like that. There's different chapters in there which you can fight. There's also an arena, which just has kind of hard challenges for your cards, and you can make whatever deck you want. I believe it's 20 cards per deck, 20 or 25. So you can mix and match whatever kind of cards you want to go for. And there's also a PvP section of the game. But the interesting thing about that is, so this game is made by Korean devs. So if you're here in the States, you could have like up to like a 16-hour time difference. To have Korean players play with NA server players here in like the States and stuff, they have it to where it's open for 2 hours per day. And it's like, for my time here in Central Time, 2 to 3 in the afternoon, 9 to 10 in the evening, 8 to 9 or 9 to 10, I forget. But you get the picture. It's open for 2 hours, and those are said to be the peak times to where both regions will be active and playing. Very interesting that they had it limited to this. But overall, from what I did play, it seems very interesting. I didn't get to evolve any of my cards, and I didn't mess around with the chatbots because I don't know, there's story from the very beginning, but I'm gonna be honest, I was only half paying attention because I wanted to get to the card game. But it seems like it could be interesting. The characters are quite cute. They're pretty. So yeah, I gave this an S just because it seems like it could be it seems like a game that has high potential to be a really fun card game and kind of mix things up from what card games are already out there. So here's another game that caught my eye because of the character designs and the color, and that is Dimensionals. I gave this game an A+, and I wrote, it has great character design. I thought all of them were quite like unique from each other. None of them looked like really standard or generic. I thought the battle mechanics were quite fun. This is another card-esque type game. So you're manning 3 characters, and each of them can have up to 3 attacks, and they're used as like a card or a tile. And you have the standard mana like in a card game, and each card costs mana. You drag a card from one of your characters that's assigned that, drag it to the enemy, and then they attack. Very simplistic, but a lot of thought, because you have stuff that does attacks, stuff that does defense, and you even have a backpack that can carry up to 3 things. These are like side things like healing potions, stuff that does damage, stuff that re-heals mana. Now you only get to really do the tutorial section for this, but I thought it was really good. It leaves you on a cliffhanger where one of your people has been taken away. So what do you do now? Who's your third person? What happens to the tiles that were attached to him? You have a shop, you have stuff that can level up the tiles you have. I think that this just looks like a very fun game. And the energy, the dialogue, it kind of gives almost like Saturday morning cartoons, like Teen Titans vibes with it. I think this game has a lot of potential. And if you are someone who likes kind of card games where you have people and you use the cards as their ammunition, I think this is something that you should definitely give a try. Okay, we are on to the last game, game number 7, and my, like, the most hidden gem. So if Windblown was my hidden gem for single player games, this is my co-op hidden gem. Now, I believe it's Popucom, and it is definitely an S+ game, my favorite game that I played. I'm so glad I gave it a try. I almost didn't, because you need to play this game co-op. Now, I don't know if there is couch co-op style. I played it with my friend Amy, who helps me run the Nerd House podcast. We played it it has local, you can just play it with your Steam friends. She played it at her place, I played it at mine. This game is like if Splatoon and Mario had a baby. Now stay with me. So, you play as 2 adorable little characters, and you each get assigned 2 colors that you can swap to at will, and a bubble gun. Now there's a bunch of puzzles and monsters to fight, and it's all revolving around your color that you are in your bubble gun. So like my colors were pink and orange, Amy's was green and blue. It was something like that. You'll see it in the overlay. But there was different puzzles that we would have to use each other's colors too. Like a lot of them were you shoot this platform, it'll go down, and then after a few seconds it'll launch the person up. But you needed to hit the other person's in order to successfully get to the next, like, elevation height. There was platforms to where there's lasers, and eventually you will get a shield, and you have to have one person propelling your platform and another person shielding you guys from the lasers. You'll have to, like, use the shields as platforms. People will hop up and over onto them. It was endless just adoration for this game. I feel like every 5 seconds, one of us was going, oh my god, I love this game. It's so cute, it's so fun. And the boss fights, they were interesting. You would have blobs of, it's a match 3 type game, and you would have to swap between your colors and shoot the enemies until you reveal its core, and then you just go ham on the core. Like, it's just endless fun, and I feel like with each new zone, or like every couple of zones, you will get a new piece of equipment to use. Like, we got our standard blasters in the first one, we got our shields, we got the ability to like roll into a ball for some of them. It gave, like, if Splatoon took their single player campaign mode style and turned it into a co-op adventure mode, this is what it would feel like. The colors are vibrant and adorable. The like maps and like the gems you collect, they're so clean in design. It feels like the puzzles would feel at home in like Mario Wonder or Mario Odyssey or just something. It is the perfect combination. It feels so Nintendo-esque, and I say that as the biggest compliment because I am a huge Nintendo simp. I have been since I was a child. So if I say you were like Nintendo, that is a huge compliment. This game, it's amazing. I now want to play every single game that this dev has made or ever will make. I cannot sing this game's praise enough. Me and Amy actually stopped playing after, I think, 4 levels because I was like, hey, you and me, we agree that we want to play this game in full when it releases, right? And she's like, yes, of course. So I'm just like, let's stop here. We know we want it. Let's just save all of this for the full game. Definitely relies on you two working together or else you won't be able to get through. It is the perfect like team building game. I love it. I think anyone, any age can play it. I cannot sing this game's praises enough. And that is all of them. That is all 7 games that I played and loved enough. I'm super happy. I wanted to find like a hidden gem and I managed to find 2. So I am thrilled. I love Steam Next Fest season. Just so many indie games to promote and love. And once again, if any of these sounded interesting to you, if you liked the gameplay or something, please wishlist it. Check out the demo right now. It's going on until the 21st. That's Monday after this video goes live. I'm giving you guys the weekend to try. This is as fast as I could play all these demos and get my thoughts together. So I hope you guys can try some of these out. I feel like I have a good range here for like someone is going to find something. That is all. If you have also been indulging in Next Fest demos, leave some of your favorites down below. If you checked any of these out due to my recommendations, please let me know what you thought down below. I would love to hear if you thought my recommendations were good. If they are bad, maybe don't tell me. But thank you for everyone who watched this video. It means a lot to me. And I hope to see you later on in another video. If you want to catch me in a later video and you haven't already, maybe subscribe to me so you don't lose me in the ocean of YouTube content. But that is all for me for today. I hope you have a great rest of your day anywhere that you are. See ya!